And it is the Redhawks Coaches Show, and we are at Wings Etc. in Jackson today. We're over at the home of the Indians, where they have a massive playoff game coming up. At the same time, the Redhawks are going to play on Saturday, 1 o'clock, against the number one team. Uh, 77-64, I believe, was the final score in that game. Jackson scored 70 points in its game, so it's going to be a great showdown Saturday at 1 o'clock right here at the home of the Indians. We're going to be talking it over with Redhawks head coach Tom Tuke, and the OVC's fifth leading tackler, Landon Sylvie, is here, and he's going to join us. The Shreveport, Louisiana native is on our radar, so stay tuned. You'll get to hear from Landon Sylvie. This is the home of the Coaches Show, and in addition to their award-winning jumbo wings, they've got that full menu, which includes their burger menu, and there are a lot of burgers on that menu. If you've been here, you understand. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads. If you're in the mood for an appetizer, they have their deep-fried pickle chips, their delicious pretzel bites, and their huge ultimate nachos for your enjoyment. Their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $9.99. And if you download the free Wings Etc. loyalty app, you earn reward points on every order that you have, whether you're eating here, whether you get it to dine out, to carry out order, or if you have it delivered. And you can do that right through the Wings Etc. loyalty app. Just download that app. It is free. It'll take you just a couple of minutes to get it set up, and you earn points on all of your orders. It is the Wings Etc. loyalty app, and we are at the home of the Redhawks Coaches Show. Coach Tom Tuke is here, and Redhawks go on the road on Saturday and pick up a road win. And not only is it hard to win in college football, it's hard to win on the road, and you find yourself down a couple of touchdowns. It did not deter your football team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think really impressed with the win. You know, I think on an average football team in nowadays culture, you know, when you're not winning, you're going to play in a bad environment. Generally, they're not ready to play. They're not up to play, you know, those type of things. And was really impressed with how excited we were ready for that game. And then when it doesn't go your way right away, that's also challenging. It's just a lot of frustration. But guys, you know, kept battling and found a way to get a win. And so really pleased with the victory.
A couple of things I saw on your sideline during the game. It's tied at 17. You end up getting a safety because you put a lot of pressure on Carswell, their quarterback, and he grounded the football and was a step in the end zone, and that is a safety. Didn't know what the officials were going to call. They talked about it, dropped the flag, and you knew it was going to be a safety. And while the officials were talking about it, I saw a ton of your players on the sideline giving the safety thing, and when they called it a safety, the sideline erupted.
Yeah.
Trell Riley's interception, the sideline went crazy. I mean, that was an engaged football team I saw on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it showed itself why we're able to win was because of that, and it says a lot about our culture. You know, we work hard on it to make sure that guys, you know, care about each other, but also we recruit guys that love football. You know, if you love football, you're excited to just practice even. And so you can see a lot of those guys love football. You know, Trell had a standing ovation and got carried out in the locker room because that was his first career pick. We thought he was going to end his career pickless. And so we're very thankful that was not the case. You know, he'd been close all year long and finally got one.
Are you just making up words, pickless? Is that, if I challenge that in Scrabble, who wins that challenge?
In my verbiage, as long as they know what the hell you say, it counts.
And football players certainly know what the word pickless means. So they jump out to a 10-0 lead in the football game. Then you get a field goal. Then it's 17-14. to 3. You're down by 2 touchdowns, but that's not the end of the first half. They end up scoring that touchdown with 3:20 left. You have your timeouts. You have a possession. Was that the possession of the game in your mind? We've got to go down and score a touchdown before halftime because Western's getting the ball first in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a pivotal 2-minute drive. I think there was a 4th down in that series that we were in field goal range. I don't know, maybe it was 4th and 3, in the 20s. And so we could have kicked a field goal or go for it and try to punch in a score. And it just felt like, we needed to try to score a touchdown, and we had been moving the ball well. And so, that was a huge drive to get us ready for the half.
So going into the game, I didn't know this, but it was a game-time decision about your quarterback situation. We all know about Jax Leatherwood's knee injury, and he has played through that with a brace, but I guess I was told it was an ankle for Jax, so kind of game time, and you ended up going with Johnny Weber. Did he know at all, hey, there's a pretty good chance you're going to start, or did he find out just minutes before the game?
Yeah, I think he knew. Jax wasn't able to practice as much as he didn't practice much at all because of the injury and all that. So I think he knew. But you just got to work through the process and get to the end of the week and decided at that point. But it's his knee, and he's got kind of both ankles coming off the Gardner Webb game. But nothing, doesn't seem like he's going to have surgery at the end of the year or anything like that.
So it's 3:20 when they score their touchdown. You get the football. It's 10 plays, 79 yards, a minute and 31 seconds. And Cole Rubel, not a guy that you have utilized in the passing game a lot. When you get down near the goal line, you have scripted some plays where he's doing some wildcat or wild hawk or whatever you guys want to call it, where he's taking direct snaps, which is what he did in high school. And so this time it was Johnny Weber throwing it to Rubel. And anybody that didn't see the touchdown, it was a fabulous individual play by Rubel. He certainly had blockers, but he had to lay out and stretch the football out, and he hit the pylon. They went to the video and said, hey, he didn't step out. His knee wasn't down. That was a really great play. And then all of a sudden you feel like, okay, we're back in this football game.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a huge play, great athleticism, and, he's had a great year for us. But it, gave us that energy and pumped some juice onto the sideline.
And getting the running game going. Now, Western has not been good against the run, but that's on paper. How do they line up? Styles make fights. How do you line up with their defensive line and their front seven, and how are they going to play things? You got a freshman quarterback. Are they going to jam the box? And 179 yards rushing. I know that made you happy.
Oh, absolutely. We've been trending. Things don't always show up in the scoreboard, but the last 3 weeks I would say we're way improved in the run game, and that was probably our best outing. I always believe in this, and the team knows this. At the end of the day, you run to win and throw to score. There's going to be moments in a game that they know you're going to run it, you're going to run it, Lena knows we're going to run it, and you got to pick it up. And so the only frustrating thing was we're in a 4-minute. The game would have been over on a 3rd and 2, and we end up getting TFL'd in that situation. And that's where I'm going to make sure that never happens again next year. Like, we have to just do a way better job of that 4-minute situation. We have good enough players that we gotta convert that, because now the game's in jeopardy. That game didn't have to be in jeopardy. You finish the game on offense and we're rolling. But then now we have to go ask the defense to go do it again. That's the thing that we got to get solved.
And I think back to some of those great Alabama teams that Nick Saban had. I mean, they could walk to the line of scrimmage and say, guess what? We're going over right guard tackle gap. That's where we're going. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. And It seemed like on Saturday when you needed to run the football, and then the 80-yard run by Brandon Epton, I'm on the opposite side. It's right there on your sideline, so you can see. I mean, he didn't step out of bounds. That was a terrific play, and one of those deals where there had been times he'd been stopped
Yeah.
at the line of scrimmage, but man, when he can bounce it. When he can bounce it one side or the other, he is elusive. I know that's why you try to work different things offensively to get him the ball in space.
Yeah. He's explosive. If you can get him that space that he needs, man, he's hard to tackle, and that's what you need. You need the explosive runs. You can't just drive it 80 plays every time. You're going to have to get one or two of them a game.
So what's it like to be the coach on the sideline when you see, okay, is he gonna make it? Is he all right? Are you one of the guys that starts running down the sideline? Do you jog? Do you just stand your ground?
No.
What happens on a play like that?
No, you're just evaluating it just like you would anything else. I think my maturity as a coach is just try to be in the moment, and then the hard thing is to not stay in that moment. Right, you want to, celebrate. You want to think, man, that was good. You want to congratulate, but in reality, you got to go to the next play. And so, as a coach, you got to just be thinking next play, and you got to move on.
And you get Justin Keller out there, and he hasn't missed one. Knock on wood.
He didn't practice all week. When we did the onside versus Gardner-Webb, he hurt his shoulder, and there's a lot of torque when you kick a ball. So he didn't kick all week long, and then came out there, and I thought it was a really gutty performance by him. Tough wind day. He had a tackle on kickoff. He's really.
And then he told Western Sideline all about it. That was on my side of the field.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah. He's an undercover tough guy for sure. But
is that what you call him? Undercover tough guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it, but he actually is.
And he's got. It's the first time I'd seen this celebration that he's got. Like he must. Is he a golfer? He does this golf swing,
Yeah, I think he's still learning who he is. I think that was an experiment for him, the celebration. But they should celebrate. What they do is hard, and it's just as hard as all the other players. And they should get excited, and they should do things like that. I think it helps them. But we're very fortunate to have him.
So, for those who weren't there, it was a length of the field wind. In other words, it is either going to be at your back or in your face. Not like the Charleston, I think it was a Charleston Southern game where you had a crosswind at Houck Stadium, where it was blowing from south to north. This was wind at the back or wind in your face. I thought it affected the football game. I definitely think it affected the kicking game, not only punting, but also kicking.
Yeah, no question. It was just a difficult wind. A lot of our fade balls we weren't able to hook up downfield. Punt game really struggled. We did make some big plays with some pooch punts inside the 5 and some stuff like that, but really affected the deep ball in the passing game and the punt. But they had the same issues, so it affected both teams.
And their guy had the win when he kicked the 53-yard. That's the longest field goal he's ever cooked, and he's a good kicker.
Yeah, I thought he had a nice leg.
And as far as the kicking game goes, Ryan Kingston had some punts where he's probably, I saw him shaking his head on them. He had a 19-yard punt. He had a 22-yard punt. I think he had two 22-yard punts, but he came up large. He had 3 inside the 20. I think he punted 9 times in that game. Killed one at the 1 thanks to Cole Dukovic. And then he killed one at the 3-yard line, but 3 inside the 20. So you just look at some of the punts that he had in the game, and you say, well, he really didn't have, a typical good punting performance. But those 3 inside the 20 were all big.
Yeah, no question. I think, he underperformed and he was super frustrated. But I think that goes back to what we started this conversation was, his teammates in the sideline got him back. They picked him up when he was down and stuff, and so he was able to move on to the next punt, and that's tough. The toughest thing about kicking and punting is you don't do it much, so you sit there to think about it. a lot. It could be 20 minutes before you go punt again, and all you're doing is the doom loop of the last punt if you're not careful. So I think he even recognized at the end of the game and told his teammates he appreciated him picking him up, and that was just great to see.
And not only is that a credit to the teammates, but a credit to him mentally. I mean, you hear lots of stories about baseball players. Guy has just a horrible at bat, and then has to go out and play in the field. He commits an error because he's sitting there thinking about his at bat and not about, hey, I gotta make this play.
Yeah, well, and the most important things you learn is you got to be where your feet are. Man, your feet's in the next play. You can't be in the last play. And it's easy to say and really hard to do. But that's just a skill he needs in life too. Just not living in the past or even thinking about the future. It's just about the present.
They've got a good young quarterback in Kason Carswell, Coach. He's a two-time OVC Freshman of the Week. He's led them to back-to-back wins going into your game, and he had a nice first half. He's a tall kid at 6'3". He's not one of those guys who's going to hurt you with his legs, and he only ran a couple of times in the game, nothing that really hurt you. But I thought you did a really nice job of frustrating him in the second half of the game. Your team pitched a shutout in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. Dominant performance in the second half. I think we realized that we could get pressure, and so we called a lot more pressure in the second half, got them behind the chains, those type of things. And just, it was good because it was frustrating for the defense the first half, and when you're punting it 9 times, that's not good. And so sometimes it gets frustrating. We punted it 10 times the week before. And so I just appreciate that our defense and offense isn't coming at each other. We're all got stuff we're working on. We're just trying to get a win, and they did.
That stuff happens, though, in football locker rooms. Offense, we're doing our job.
It's
or
human
defense,
nature.
We're doing our job. How about you guys do your job?
Yeah, it's human nature. It's like, come on, Lena, look at all the money I bring home. What you got? It's human nature. But, when you get married and when you're on a team, it's all for one for all, and, no role's bigger than another. Like, we got to just find a way to get the job done.
All right. How about Johnny Weber's performance? First of all, the first thing you say is, okay, how are you judging a quarterback? Did you get the win? Check.
Can we go back? Is there any way to edit the Lena comment out?
It's going to be there forever. The internet is
live.
The internet is undefeated. Plus, we archive the shows. So
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe she's busy today.
That's a very good possibility. I mean, I'd keep an eye.
I'll let you know on my phone.
I'd keep an eye on your phone if I were you. So, Johnny Weber. There's a guy who, you talk about. Okay, guys just love football. Well, he ended up loving football more than racing dirt bikes competitively. And 2 things about Johnny Weber in the game. First of all, you got the win. Secondly, no turnovers.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that is I think you got to learn how not to lose before you can learn how to win. You got to let the game come to you, and so I really appreciate that. I think he thought he would have played better, and he will and can, but that's just kind of how it is, man. You just got to work through the game and find a way to be successful, and some days it's going to look like Eastern Illinois, and some days it's going to look like Western Illinois, for him. And so, but he's a really steady guy. He's really inflappable. I mean, he's like steady Eddie. I really appreciate how he goes about his business.
He is not a statue back there in the pocket. I mean, he can move around. I'm not saying, he's Lamar Jackson or anything, but I mean, he can do some things to extend some play.
Yeah, and I think, once we get his body right, right now we don't want him running around. He's thin, he's just a freshman. We haven't really got his body right, and we're already banged up there, so we're limiting him a little bit. But he is athletic, sneaky athletic. He's probably one of the better golfers on the team. He's just kind of got that sneaky athleticism.
Where do you rank in terms of golf game?
Well, I haven't played really since I got here. I am looking forward to that. My wife and I used to play before we had kids, but when you got kids and you're a football coach, it's over. But I love being outside. I love looking at Lena in a skirt. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be back up as soon as we get more time.
So you're rehabbing it nicely, I think. You're doing a really good. See, that's a veteran move. There are no rookie. You thought earlier maybe that was a rookie comment, but now you're showing your veteran leadership.
Exactly.
All right. So as far as catching the football, it's 7 catches for Cam Pedro for 57 yards, leading the league again in receptions, and that's with turnover at quarterback. That's with, offensive linemen coming in and out. And I know you suffered a couple of injuries, or a couple of linemen got banged up in the football game. Man, if you talk about one steady football player on the offensive side of the ball, it is number 0, Cam Pedro.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just, always there, always fighting for his team, not selfish, not complaining, all the things you want. He had a holding penalty because of fundamentals, and then he had an offsides penalty. Offensively, we're still making a lot of those mistakes, and it's just hard. You get a holding penalty, the drive's going to get stopped. You get offsides, or false start, it's going to be hard to convert to first down. And so we're still got to learn how not to make those mistakes on offense.
I would love to be able to see what goes on in the locker room in a case like Saturday. So in the first half, you're down 17-3, but you score before halftime. But halftime, it's 8 penalties, 85 yards, and some of those penalties were drive killers. I mean, they just were, a couple of pass interference penalties as well. I haven't seen the video on that, but it's 8 for 85. And when I say what was the locker room like, I imagine you've got several versions of the riot act that maybe you go into. I don't know how you coach a team like that at halftime, but whatever was said or whatever adjustments were made, you had one insignificant 5-yard penalty in the second half of the game. Penalties were not a talking point in the second half.
Yeah, I think, there wasn't like these were fundamental mistakes, so it was just keep coaching them. Obviously the false start by Cam, he missed the signal, but he held because he wasn't fundamentally sound. We had a DPI because fundamentally we didn't do what we were coached to do. So I think the coaches kept coaching, and the players finally were coachable, and so we were able to take that off the film.
And as far as your team, we'll talk about Lindenwood coming up. As far as your defense goes, you're going to be challenged. Your secondary is going to be challenged. Your pass rush is going to be challenged. Nate Glantz is the top passer in the Ovies. He's got more yards than Vesperis for Tennessee Tech. You're facing a legitimate throwing quarterback now. He also has 11 interceptions this year, but he leads the league in passing yardage. But your defense is going to face an even better player on this Saturday than what you saw last Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a challenge because very mobile. It's not like he's a 4.4 kid. He's really mobile and thick. He's like 210, so he can break all those arm tackles and things like that. I think he's been sacked the least amount of times, and it's because he's mobile, and so he's able to make a lot of plays, kind of a gunslinger mentality, and so we got a work cut out for us.
It's not quite the Christmas season, although you wouldn't know it if you went into some of the stores right now, retail stores. It's Christmas all over the place. But we had a little Christmas in November in Macomb. Kyler Christmas ends up with 9 tackles in the game, and I think that was his first sack of the year. I mean, he was fired up, and that came at a really big time when you sent him on a blitz and he got to the quarterback.
Yeah, he was a junior college kid that came in and is still getting better. Adrian Patterson was hurt, and so he wasn't able to go, and so he kind of got his first start and first significant reps and played really well. Coach Kuhn, I think it was on a 4th down on that sack, if I remember right. And so, was really aggressive and brought a safety up in the middle, and, he made a great play on it. So appreciate him still getting better even at the end of the year. And again, taking that, some kids that take, hey, why ain't I playing? And then they don't get better because all they think about is why they're not playing instead of getting better. But he's not that. He's a great kid, works hard, good teammate, and, it's paying off for him. And
in terms of the Trell Riley interception, going into the game, Carswell had thrown it a lot. I mean, they're not just, abandoned the running game. They've got the league's leading rusher in Markel Holman, and he caught a touchdown pass in the game. But Carswell had only thrown 2 interceptions all year. He's done a great job of taking care of the football.
They're well coached.
That was really big. I mean, their head coach, he's 45 years old. He was a quarterback in college, and that was D3. Mm-hmm. He played in a Division III, Adrian in Michigan, and he played some indoor league football. He played in the Austrian football league. You ever heard of the Austrian football league? He played quarterback there. He played in a couple of indoor football leagues. I mean, he knows the position. They had one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year, and then they've got a freshman who is making an impact. But man, that was a big play in the game because that kid just hadn't been throwing interceptions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime you can go +2 in the turnover margin, it's huge, but especially when they're not used to doing that, and we needed that, so secondary's playing a lot more confidence. We got rattled a little bit with the PIs. The frustrating thing about coaching is you have to coach to the officials, because not every conference, not everybody calls it the same. And so most of the time in this league, they're going to let you do a little more. This crew doesn't. They had our North Alabama game too, and it was a high PI, night too. And so that was the thing at halftime. Hey, you got to adjust your play. You can't change them, Just like if basketball games, they're going to call it tighter. You gotta adjust your play.
So forcing turnovers, this year's team has not been like some of your championship teams where you've been really good in terms of forcing turnovers, but you did force a fumble. It was Slade Dollar that forced a fumble. Jeremy Walton forced a fumble in the football game, and Stephen Lewis came up with a fumble recovery, but Walton and Dollar poking balls loose. Now, they fell on one of those fumbles, but still, you pop 2 balls out on the turf.
Absolutely. Playing a lot more aggressive. That'll be huge for this week. Just trying to get the ball out. And guys are really bought into it. This game's going to be a senior's last game, and a guy like Slade and Jeremy Walton, these 2 seniors that are playing their best they've ever played on defense. It's fun to watch them. It's going to be bittersweet to watch them take their last rep at Houck, but they can leave with their head high, and they've had a hell of a career.
And the 2 guys we mentioned forcing the fumble, then Stephen Lewis, who had a legitimate decision to make after last season. Am I going to go into the professional world and get a job, or am I going to come back and play one more year of college football? He recovered the fumble that was big in the game, and he decided, I'm going to come back and play one more year with the Redhawks.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's playing his best football too. He's going to be a police officer when he's done. Great man, great family, that's what happens when you get to the last week, is you just kind of run through their career, and just really appreciative to be a part of it.
So from what I see, Jeff Hans's game notes, 27 seniors, maybe some guys, maybe that number goes one way or the other, depending on a certain guy's circumstance. Hey, I'm a senior, but yes, I have another year of eligibility. I don't know how that works. It's all different now, but that's a lot of senior. In your experience as a coach, is 27 a pretty big senior class?
We don't have 27.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we got 20 going on senior night.
Where does that rank? Is that about average?
About average, yeah. I think you don't know, you can't really compare to histories, because how you build rosters have forever changed.
Sure.
Now you can just recruit age, which that was never really an option, right? And so I know like Tennessee Tech had 38 seniors, things like that. So I think you definitely don't want a young football team nowadays, because everybody recruits to win now. And so you're recruiting a lot of more older players.
So with that trend and recruiting high school guys less, not that you don't recruit high school guys, you certainly do. Landon Sylvie is one of those guys. He was a guy that came straight here from high school. Let's talk a little bit about Landon Sylvie, who's having a terrific year as a sophomore. Got some playing time last year. I think his high tackle game was 5 a year ago, and all of a sudden, he's the 5th leading tackler in the league, but a guy that you recruited as a high school football player.
Yeah, we still want to try to get our heart and soul from the high school, as much as we can. And he's one of those. I've always really wanted to recruit Louisiana. There's lots of great players. When we're at Southern Illinois, we had great players from Louisiana. And so we dipped in there and got a couple, and he was one of them. He comes from a great high school program, perennial playoff team, was a great player. Normally when you're talking about DBs, everybody wants to talk about athleticism and speed and size, but the great ones I've ever been around have instincts. Instincts in the secondary are everything, and I think that's what he does well. Now, probably played him a little early. He wasn't ready physically. He's undersized. He's 5'10", 177 or so, unfortunately. So I tell him, hey, you're not in the man zone until you hit 180. You're still in the boy zone. There are no men that weigh under 180. And so we're still trying to get him going. But he's come in, has been a great teammate. He's got a beautiful family. He's got a great smile. But he's still learning, still maturing. He's a sophomore that still lives in the dorms, and I know he didn't like that decision. But, every time, I always tell the kids all the time about, we'll give you more responsibility when you're crushing your current responsibilities. If your GPA ain't great, we're not going to give you more responsibility. That's what you do with your children, right? When they're ready for more, you give them more. Until then, you just work with him. Right now, he's got, I think, around a 3.5-ish, and super proud if he can finish with that and just, mature and be the leader we need. Right now, he's just trying to be a good player, but maybe next year he can step into a leadership role.
So if we just went down the roster, are you able to just pull guys' GPA off the top of your head?
Rough numbers, yeah.
How closely do you monitor that? I know you've got other assistants and people are responsible, but the head man, I'm sure you keep a close eye on that kind of thing. That's not something we're thinking about on game day and, what are we going to do here on 4th and 2, from the, midfield strike. We going for it, not going for it?
Yeah.
GPA is a big thing that you pay attention to.
Yeah, because GPA tells me a lot of things. It's not a test. It's not a one-time thing. It tells me a lot about how you're living. Are you bought in? Are you locked in? Are you distracted? Are you living right? All those type of things. So that's generally a good indicator. Sometimes you need to get in there and try and solve some of those problems.
Do we remember what Coach Tuke's GPA was?
I would not have been able to play for myself.
Okay.
So the standard here is 3.0, and so if you're not a 3.0 guy, you're gonna, that's not okay. I know this isn't culturally accepted, but we stand the people up that don't have 3A's or 3.0, and we boo them. And at the end of the day, standards are the most important things you do. The moment you lower standards for young people, you think you're doing them a favor. You're killing them. Like, you have to have a standards, and you got to make them meet the standards. And when they don't, they need to feel it. So they will meet the standard when it comes. And so we've had a 3.0 for a while now, 3.2 or so. And, I think the kids will, when they're 30 and 40, I think they'll appreciate that we didn't just talk about their tackles.
Well, we'll talk about Landon Sylvie's tackles because he's got 1 million of them and had another good game on Saturday. He ended up with 8 tackles in the game, 1 TFL, which if you're scoring at home is a tackle for a loss. We will talk with Landon Sylvie when we come back. We're in Jackson today, Redhawks Coaches Show at Wings, etc.
Choice, change, control.
Back to the Redhawks Coaches Show. This is our final football coaches show of the season. And this scheduling note, we will not have a coaches show next Monday. We will not have a coaches show next Monday. We will be off. The basketball team is flying out to Arizona. The women's basketball team is going to be on the road. Ironically enough, they're going to play in a tournament in Arizona, different cities. So no coaches show next week, and then in 2 weeks we'll be back in Cape, and Coach Brad Korn will join us for Redhawks basketball. By the way, the Redhawks will be playing tomorrow night at the University of Iowa, and that game will be on the Big Ten Network. Of course, we will have it on Real Rock 99.3. It is a 7:30 tip-off, the Redhawks and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Want to remind you that in addition to their award-winning jumbo wings here at Wings Etc. for both dine-in and carry-out, this is your place to watch all of the big sporting events. They've got the NFL Sunday ticket here at Wings Etc. Tonight, we've got a Monday Night Football game, and Ryan Flournoy, former Redhawks star, and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys have never played an NFL game in Las Vegas. They will tonight against the 2-win Las Vegas Raiders, and it's a must-win for the Dallas Cowboys if they have any hopes of making the postseason. Well, you can watch it in high definition right here at Wings Etc., where they have food and drink specials throughout the week. They have a terrific kids menu. They are open 7 days a week and late on the weekends when the games go late. And don't forget, the Hobbs family not only has locations in Cape and Jackson, but also in Dexter. Wings Etc. all over southeast Missouri, and our favorite establishment Landon Sylvie is here, and when the players come on the show, they usually get lunch off the Terrific Wings menu. Do you fall into that category? Did you just eat?
I did. Ate great.
All right, what'd we get?
I got the hot honey garlic and the garlic parmesan. Can't go wrong with that.
Bone in.
Of course.
Yeah, see, now the majority of the guys will go bone in. You can't. You're not a fan of bone out.
Nah, that's like chicken nuggets.
There you go. That's not the first time we've heard that. We've heard that discussed. All right, it was a big win on the road for you in Macomb, Illinois, at Western Illinois on Saturday. What was that sideline like when you guys were making that comeback? Because a lot of it is on the defensive side of the ball. They didn't score a point against you in the second half.
Yeah, energy was just high on the sideline, knowing like we can hold these guys like to 0 points if just do our job. So that was the whole game plan on our sideline.
So when you made the jump from high school to college football, did you realize, first of all, that the game was as fast as it is at Division I? And secondly, did you realize it was going to be that hard to actually get on the field in uniform to play in a Division I game?
Yeah, the game was way faster than I expected. Like, people always talk about it, but like seeing it firsthand was way different. And like getting on the field last year was a shock to me because like I was ready, but I don't think like physically like Coach Tuke said I was ready. But it was like a great learning experience for me, just going out there against Northwestern State, EIU, getting my feet wet, like having them learning bumps was like a great thing for me, especially for this year.
So not only have you contributed, but you're a starter, and you lead the team in tackles. Now, I know Coach Tuke is not always enamored with a safety being the team's leading tackler, but that's where you sit, the leading tackler in the league. And as Coach mentioned, you're not a big guy. Does 177 get it or not?
He gets the job done. He might not like it, but he gets the job done.
Is 177 accurate this morning?
Yes. It might be a little bit more.
All right, what do you think of his qualification of what is and what is not the man zone?
I give it's a good qualification. Like, I'll be slacking every now and then by my weight, but I promise you next year I'll be 185.
All right, 185. So what are the things, I mean, when you're talking to your strength and conditioning coach and when I know they've got an entire system set up, what are the things that have been told to you, okay, here are the things that you've got to do and you're going to get into the man zone?
Get up early, eat. After I do any type of exercise or activity, eat, drink. Before I go to sleep, eat, snack all day, eat some peanut butter sandwiches, something. Just eat. That's what I'm going to do 24/7, just eat.
How tough is that sometimes? You're like, man, I am not hungry, but I know I've got to eat.
Man, it's a struggle. And my people might think it's like, it might be hard to lose weight, but I feel like it's harder to gain weight in my opinion.
All right, so you're from Shreveport, Louisiana, and we all know the food down in Louisiana. And I've been to New Orleans several times. We played baseball down there. We played basketball multiple times, played in a tournament at Tulane down there, and played New Orleans in baseball, Tulane in baseball. So we've been to New Orleans a lot. The food is outstanding. I got to think the food in Shreveport is probably just as good as New Orleans.
Yeah. We got a teammate that's from New Orleans. I argue with him all the time, like, we got the better food just because, like, we got a mix of, like, the Texas barbecue, then, like, Louisiana spices and all that food. So I feel like, in our opinion, ours is better.
So do you think if you had the Louisiana menu, you could gain the weight quicker?
I feel like I'll still be the same. And nothing would change.
All right. A couple of your favorite Cajun dishes from back home.
Always pasta, Cajun pasta, some Cajun neck bones, can never go wrong with that. Then what else? Gumbo, can't go with gumbo, etouffee, jambalaya. All of those are great to me, especially if they season right. Can't go wrong.
All right, is there somebody in your family who is famous for making the best food?
My aunt Ella is famous for making her gumbo. Like, any type of event, she might be out of town, like she has to send her recipe in or like make it before she leaves. Like, any event, she has to make her gumbo before she leaves.
She probably loves that the family loves her gumbo.
Yeah, she make her own pot just for me because, like, I'll go through it so fast, like, it's not as funny.
All right. I know there is at least one Cajun restaurant in Cape Girardeau. Have you found any good Cajun food here in Southeast Missouri?
Only one I found is one Broussard's downtown. Ate there a couple times, but my mom's, like, she like it, but that's not her go-to place sometimes.
So one of the things about that restaurant is they sell gator, alligator. What's your experience with gator over the years?
I haven't ate gator a lot. Like, it's not really not my go-to, like, seafood dish. Like, if I see gator on the menu, I'm not gonna be like, oh wow, but it's pretty good. Like, to me, I had frog more than I had gator.
Does it taste like chicken? I mean,
I'm not gator. Frog and chicken taste just alike.
Okay.
But like the legs on the frog are just way better, thicker and juicy than the chicken to me.
All right. How about crawfish?
Oh, crawfish is amazing. Like, when I went back home and ate crawfish, I probably had I might eat 80 pounds of crawfish myself within a week. That's something that's a snack to us. Like, we eat that all day, every day, especially during crawfish season.
So LSU, Louisiana State University, obviously has been a powerhouse in football. Saban won a national championship there. I mean, they've had 3 different coaches in the last 20 years win national championships there. And the reputation of the state of Louisiana, it is loaded with football talent. How about some of the players that you played against and some of the teams that you played against, and how good is the football talent in your home state of Louisiana?
I feel like it's great. Like, my high school team, we had like our running back James Simon, he goes to Texas. Our left tackle Devin Harper, he plays for Ole Miss. A couple of my receivers like Jay Simon, Aubrey Hermes, Kobe Thomas, they play football at Louisiana Tech. Like the 707 circuit, I played with the Bootleggers. Like, we had talent all over the country. Like, I played with a running back at Alabama, Daniel Hill. A lot of players on LSU, like PJ Woodland, he's from Mississippi, he plays for LSU. I played against a lot of players, like 707 tournament, football, just a lot. So I feel like the tournament, athletics and football down there is great, like one of the best in the nation.
So I know you probably keep track of what's going on in your home state. How about the Louisiana governor getting involved, talking about what they're doing with the football coach and the buyout of the football coach and all those things? I can't remember the last time I heard a governor front and center talking about the football coach.
Yeah, when I first seen that, I was shocked. But like, looking back at it, like, especially like Louisiana, that's not like a big shocker of me. Because like, that's one thing we love, like sports and football. That's 2 things we don't play about: football and our food. Them 2 things like you don't take away from us, because that's gonna solve a big problem. So when he put a comment about that, I wasn't too shocked.
So did you grow up a fan of LSU?
I did. I hate Alabama, hate Arkansas, all that. Like, when we play Alabama, like in like my elementary, like we had that Friday off. Like, Friday was off of that Alabama week. It was hate week the whole week.
Now, one of the things that is said in college football, that the best college football atmosphere in the country is Death Valley at night on a Saturday night. Agree or disagree?
I very much agree. I don't feel like I've been to a lot of games, like with my brother playing at Oklahoma, going to a lot of their games. Like, the Oklahoma Stadium, that's nice, but like compared to like the LSU games, it's like it's nothing. Like, you can barely hear yourself. Then like the chants they do, I ain't gonna repeat what they say, but like the stuff they say down there, it can get crazy.
All right, New Orleans Saints, were they your team growing up?
Of course, they were my teams. All the heartbreak I've been through. When them win the Super Bowl was great, but like these past couple years, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, hopefully they're on the rise. Not yesterday, but last week
beat the Panthers.
They had a big win over Carolina, and Carolina, I think, do they have 6 wins? Yeah, Carolina's got more wins than the Chiefs do.
We want to come up, man. Got to start somewhere.
All right, as you get ready for the football game on Saturday, I want to talk to you about Calvary Baptist Academy. That's where you played your football, and 10-0, a state championship playing for the Cavaliers.
Yes, it was great doing that, because my brother went to the same high school, and the argument was like who had the better team, because his team was the first team to win state at Calvary, and he had all the players. Like, his quarterback was Shea Patterson. He had a receiver and a running back to go to Arizona, so they always talk about like they had a better talent, better team. So like we came out, went 10-0, first undefeated team in that school. Then Winter State was just better in the dome. It was great. It was a great time, especially just going winning, not losing. That's a great feeling overall.
So when you're at the Thanksgiving table and it's brought up about the state championships with the Cavaliers, do you immediately go to undefeated baby?
Off the rip, like he can't say nothing about it. Like overall, I have a better high school record than he do as well, so he can't do nothing about that.
All right. Do you like playing safety?
Oh, I love it. It's like, cause like sometimes I get to kind of free roam, kind of tell everybody what to do sometimes, and I'm not getting mad at me because since like I am kind of younger on the field, like they kind of can treat me like a little brother. So when I'm on the field, I can give out like certain like calls to help out other people. That I can like they'll listen. And that's a good part about it, to being a free roamer and just like helping other people out.
Boy, I know that you've got pass coverage responsibilities, but man, it's got to be a fun thing to just come up and know that hey, my job on this play is to lay the wood.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like it's great for me because like me being 5'10", 177, I feel like some people underestimate like I could tackle. So I feel like I catch running backs off guard a lot when I come hit them.
So number 34. Is there a story behind that, or that's the number they gave you, or did you choose 34? How did that work out?
That's what they gave me. Like first day I got here, they gave me 3-4. I asked multiple times to change it, but like I guess the way I've acted in the last semester, that was not changing no time soon. So I'm stuck with it. I might just rock it out for the rest of my career.
All right. Well, I've seen a lot of guys who have a certain number and they wanted a different number, but somebody's got that number, someone who may be an upperclassman. And when they have matriculated out of the football program, graduated, guys will wait and then jump on that number. That's not in your future. It's 34 going forward.
It might be. It's starting to grow on me. Like last year I hated it, but like this year it grew on me. 3-4, not bad. Like Kyler Christmas, he calls me Giannis. That's my nickname for him, is Giannis, because he wear 34.
Boy, he had a good game. He got an opportunity to see a few more snaps, and he delivered a Christmas present to Case and Carswell in that game.
He did. I was like, when we called that play, he was happy from the jump when he seen the signal come out there, and he ran it. I already knew. I hope he got home, but knowing him, I'm glad he did.
All right.
Celebrate.
So it's a different type of quarterback that you're going to face on Saturday. Nate Glantz will get out and he will run and leads the league in passing yardage. He will throw an INT, and so that I'm sure will make you excited about the fact that, hey, you may have a pick-off opportunity in the game. But how different is it when you're facing a guy who's going to be, for the most part, he's going to be in the pocket, versus a guy like Glantz who will, at first, if he looks and his first or second read is not there, he's gone.
You guys have great eyes on the back end. Like with a guy like him that scrambles, like it's easy to like have bad eyes, get off your receiver, he's scrambling around, now your man's open, and now to get a big gain. So that's probably the big thing for us on the back end. Just staying glued to our guy, even with the quarterback doing all his shenanigans back there. Just stay glued to our guy, make sure you don't catch the ball.
All right, what's the thought process going into this game in terms of, okay, it's not going to be a playoff year for the Redhawks, but you have an opportunity to win the trophy, the Game Ball Brawl trophy, and send the seniors out winners. How much is that talked about?
That's big to us. Like every game is a big game to us, especially against Lindenwood, how they beat us last year. Then they have them having a trophy. So that's like, on us, this is a big game, last game for the seniors, send them out right. Then not having them lose to Lindenwood again, don't want them leaving like that.
All right, it's going to be at 1 o'clock. Thanks so much for the time. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. All right, Landon Sylvie. Final segment with Coach Tuke. We'll ask him about the Lindenwood Lions when we come back. Redhawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. Final segment, Redhawks Coaches Show. We're in Jackson. No show next week. And then in 2 weeks, we will be over in the Cape location, and we will switch over to basketball. Redhawk men's basketball team is at Iowa tomorrow at 7:30. Football wraps up the season with a big rivalry game. The brawl for the game ball, 1 o'clock at Houck Stadium, rejoined by Coach Tom Matukowicz. It was a really cool thing when you guys decided, all right, let's make this a special game by inserting a trophy into it. You're 2-1 against Lindenwood. They got you at their place last year, but how much more is it for the players knowing, hey, we got a trophy on the line? I mean, you got the war for the wheel with the Salukis, but this is a conference opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it means something. We'll continue to build the rivalry and talk about it and all those type of things. And I know, I'm certainly looking forward to trying to get that trophy back, and I know the team will too. It's a big game, and just in general for recruiting, they've done a nice job of continue to, up the resources and compete at this level. And, we got to continue to fight to stay ahead.
So you lead the league in passing offense, which is passing yards per game. A lot of that was with Jax, and some of it has been with Johnny Weber. He's had 2 really good games at home, and then they've got the league's leading passer in terms of passing yardage in Nate Glantz. One thing to keep in mind, you're coming off a 179-yard rushing game, and just in terms of the numbers, Lindenwood has struggled to defend the run. So, I know styles make fights. We talked about that. This may be a defense where you'll be able to continue that momentum of running the football.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's bigger than Lindenwood. It's just who are we on offense. We want to be balanced no matter what, and we got to continue to fight to do those things while, it's just been a really, really inconsistent lineup, and that's what's tough. And so we got to continue to play with great fundamentals, great effort, great physicality. There's been progress. I think every week, it's been easier to watch. For me, it's getting better, and so hopefully we can just have a nice outing and go in the off season with a nice, trophy game win.
What do we know about the quarterback situation for Saturday? Your quarterback situation.
It'll be the same thing. It'll be up in there.
Game time decision. One thing, their defense statistically has been pretty good against the pass this year, but they are last in the league in interceptions. Their defense has only picked off 2 passes this year, so they have not been a ball-hawking type of pass defense.
Yeah, kind of bend but don't break, but they've had some nice wins. They beat Stony Brook, they beat UT Martin, some really quality wins.
That's Martin's only loss in conference.
Right. And so quality opponent, we got to get ready to play.
How about just looking around the league? That's a big showdown. Tennessee Tech and UT Martin. Whoever wins it, I believe, gets the automatic bid. So Tech could have this great season. They're probably still going to get an at-large bid, but I mean, UT Martin is right there, and that's going to be a big showdown.
Yeah, they've been able to win a lot of close games. A lot of fourth quarter games. So Coach Simpson's done a good job. I think it's at Tech. That's going to be harder to do. It'll be interesting if Tech will be able to host, because I'm not sure with the locker room and all that type of stuff if they're going to allow them to host with just one side of the stadium or not.
All right, it'll be at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and you'll say goodbye to all your seniors. That's always. Is it a different mindset for a coach when you know this is it for your guys?
I think it's what's nice about our sport is it's like life. This doesn't last forever. These careers don't last forever. They're not with you forever. There's a start and an end, and it's just fun to see a lot of those guys. We still have a lot of high school kids that were in there, or at least 3-year type kids, and so we've got great relationships built, and certainly going to miss them, but want to send them out with a win.
And best of luck to you with Lena not hearing what we talked about on the show.
Yeah. So it could be a little quiet at the dinner table.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right, 1 o'clock on Saturday. We'll see you then, Coach. And this is our final Coaches Show. We appreciate your time. I mean, the last thing you want to do is carve out an hour and sit down and, talk to the media. But you do it, and you've been doing it for 12 years, and we certainly appreciate it. And, it's one of those deals where you are very regimented, and you want to get, you're thinking about game day. You're not thinking about media. So we certainly appreciate it, and can't wait for Saturday to see if you can send the seniors out with a win.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. That is Coach Tom Matukowicz. Thanks again, Landon Sylvie. Coach Brett Blackman. Appreciate him bringing our guests every week. He brings the players right here to the Coaches Show. We certainly appreciate that. Thanks to Dylan, Tommy, Rachel, River Radio on site. We'll get you into the Rich Eisen Show coming up next on ESPN Radio. Again, no show next week. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks from the Wings Etc. in Cape. Enjoy your Monday, everybody. So long from the Coaches Show at Wings.